Alright guys, how you doing? Ready for a bit of a quickie? So I sent myself this game earlier on. It's 23 moves deep, so it's not, not a heavyweight game. It's a 5-minute blitz. I was rated 14-16 at the time, not having a great day. I had a fab day yesterday. My wife and I both went into a school. She taught sausage making and I taught some bushcraft stuff. Did fire lighting with 100 kids split into 5 groups. It was great stuff. Love to see looks on their face when they actually, get a spark off like flint and steel and stuff. It's great. Anyway, bit of chess. So, yeah, I sent myself this game earlier on saying, do a video on this. It's good. Good kind of attacking ideas. And I think these like short vignettes when you get a position and we can just, see where are we at with our thinking on it, So, we have a Vienna. Falk Beer, Vienna Gambit now. You shouldn't take the pawn. He took the pawn, right? We push on with e5. This now forces the knight back. The only option here is to play queen e7. That's met by queen e2, but that's actually even slightly worse for black because they've still got to retreat the knight. Okay, so knight to f3. This is important because we want to stop the queen coming to h4 with check. And now they push d6. This is very common. Now, I think the response I play is d4. Queen e2 is the general idea. So they take here. Now I play queen e2, okay? So now this pawn here, for the time being, is pinned, right? They can't capture here. And then what they do, now, so he's used nearly a minute. He now plays his bishop to here. Now what this means is that it has the effect of unpinning the pawn. The pawn is now good, okay? So previously I could have captured this pawn for free because its only defender is pinned and therefore can't recapture. I decide here to push on with d5, right? Really stamping some control over the center. I have 2 attackers on this pawn. I could have just simply captured that pawn. Opponent now takes with the bishop, okay? So what's the idea? What's Hunty thinking here? So we're going to go through this game first of all just like on sight, and then we'll use the machine. Okay, he's 3 pawns up. I haven't captured anything on his side. However, this pawn here is handling very badly. So why have I played this, you might wonder? Well, I'm wondering the same thing. Okay, is it that I want to long castle and get my rook onto d1? I bet it is, right? He now pushes on e4 and I snatch it off, right? I could here, if he takes, I can recapture with the queen with check, but he's still 2 pawns up. He does take, I take with check. Queen blocks, right? And now, my queen's not defended. So I either have to defend her, in which case bishop d3 would seem to be the move, or I have to initiate the exchange, right? There's no middle ground. I play bishop d3. Okay, so who do you fancy here? This is interesting. I have no d, e, and f pawns, right? Opponent here has doubled pawns on the f file and nothing in the center. So we actually have, guys, the situation of 2 completely open files on d and e. Okay, he captures, I recapture, and now of course I'm looking at b7. Always have to be awake to that. He pushes c6. I long castle. Okay, place your bets. Knight out. Do I want to give up my bishop? Hell no, right? There's nothing, there's no blockages on this board whatsoever. This board is fluid, right? Absolutely. I want to keep my bishop. So bishop f5. Now opening up the e-file. He plays his knight to here. Obviously rook h e1 with check, okay? Now we have 2 open files on the board and both of them belong to yours truly, okay? Hunty has staked his claim. Is he going to block with the bishop? He is. He blocks with the bishop. So I now recapture one of my pawns. Now I'm only 1 pawn down, but I've completed development. I've got the cherry on the cake with 2 centralized rooks. Opponent now plays knight to d5. And here you may wish to pause and figure out what you would play, because from memory I didn't play the best move here. There is a really good move here that I missed, okay? However, we will show you how it continues. Opponent, so I drop my bishop back to g3, okay? I see that the knight is attacking my bishop. I want to keep the bishops on the board. It's a wide open board. He's only got one bishop, right? I want to keep this. Now he castles, okay. And now I play actually the same move that the engine wanted, because I've had a quick look at the review. But what would you play in this situation? Okay, so pause if you need, pause for 20 seconds if you want, or a bit longer. Okay, remember this is a 5-minute blitz game. Okay, so I've used 1:06 at this point. My opponent's used 2:36. So what do we see on the board? Okay, and then how would you proceed? Okay, so here's the breakdown as I see it in the game. I'm attacking this bishop. The bishop is defended by that central knight. Okay, this knight is pinned and it's defended twice. Okay, but it's still pinned, which means it's not defending anything. Okay, so what I saw was I can take this knight. Okay, and this is the tactic called removing the defender. Right, the knight is the only defender of this bishop. Therefore, if I take the knight with my rook, he's got to take back. Okay, and then I can have a bishop. So in material terms, we have given up a rook for 2 minor pieces, and that's 5 points I've given up for 6 that I've gained. But actually 2 minor pieces tend to be worth a bit more than a rook, particularly like in the middle game, but in the end game as well. So that's what I went for, but there are more levels to this as well, okay? Because what else happens when I take the bishop? Well, when I take the bishop with my rook, right, this guy that as we know, is pinned, right? It's defended by rook and king. It will then be attacked by this bishop and this rook that's going to be on this square here, okay? So takey, 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 right? So now we've gone from being with black being 1 pawn up, right? We've gone to evens, okay? Now it's still very much imbalanced because he's got 2 rooks, I've got 3 minor pieces, he's got, well, 1 extra pawn. But this knight that's pinned is now attacked once, twice, okay? This pawn here is now isolated, right? Because there's no pawns on these squares that can defend it, so it can only now be defended by pieces. But what's more, I realise, okay, is that I can actually apply further pressure. Obviously, I'm also attacking these pawns as well, right? So black now plays rook h to f8 to defend this guy, right? But it ends, okay? Because I can add even more pressure. This is just crude, brute force, ugly ass chess, right? 3 attackers, okay? This piece that's pinned has got 2 defenders, and this rook here cannot come to the defense of the knight, right? It could come here, but then I just probably take with check, you know, I don't know, rook takes, and my knight's defended by a bishop. So lovely position. Rook does now come to e7, right? So how do we continue? There are a few options. I capture on e8, okay? Because I know that after rook recaptures, I now have a fork, and opponent resigns, okay? So that's an interesting position. Let's now look at what the machine says we should have done. Okay, so running the full review now. Time for a sip of tea. I've got an over the board match and I didn't sleep very well. Okay, so we have a brilliant move. Can I get a hallelujah? Okay, now, 3 misses. And obviously 1 blunder from opponent, so let's see how it goes, right? Don't do that, that's a great move. Okay, he goes back, that's best, and knight f3 is best. D6 is best, very common. D4 is best, good. Takey, queen here. Okay, interesting one. It's now saying bishop b5 check. Surely that's going to be met with this, okay? So if this, bishop b5, how would it go? Show me. Yeah. And we drop back and look at f7. Oh. Well, that's a long sequence, Fishy, isn't it? Wow. You're showing the entire game? Well, sometimes it shows you a couple of moves. That was seven whole moves there. All right. But anyway, that's not what we did. And it's marginal. It's 0.77 to 0.79. I mean, seriously, Stockfish, you know, we are splitting hairs here. Yeah, 0.02 of a pawn. Please. Bishop to d6 is a good move, apparently. But we're already a pawn up in eval, despite being 2 pawns down in material. Curious. Oh, wow. Okay, let's figure this one out. It's saying the best move is to take the pawn that I just said we couldn't take because this guy's now active. What? Okay, so go next move and say, okay, bishop takes f4, show me. He takes. We attack the pinned piece. Okay, and this leaves us in a situation where we're 1 pawn down, but 2 pawns down. But black has no development whatsoever. We're about to long castle and get more pressure on this. And we are plus 1.1. I don't really buy that, okay? So here I push d5, which is, this is okay. And we're 0.99. Okay, so it's the same difference. They take, and this is a mistake. Should have just taken here. But taking with the knight, and this is an instructive lesson, right? It's very tempting to take with the piece and give check at the same time. Because it's like, woohoo, I got a pawn and I gave check. Yeah, but that's not evil enough. You're not evil enough. No. Yeah, take with the knight. And this is worse than a check, right? If you give check, he just says, right, I'll break the check with this or this or this, right? Or drop the bishop back, yeah? Taking with the knight, you are then threatening a discovered check. So you're threatening, for example, to come here. Okay, the queen has got the king in check, so they can't take the knight with pawn or thing, right? Pawn or knight. So here, and you're attacking the queen. But can the queen block? But no, she can't, because the knight also covers e7 as well. So there you go. That was a mistake, and black is now slightly better. But black fails to capitalize. They should have just developed, right? So he's done the same thing I did and just push a central pawn. And this is a missed win. Bishop takes f4, right? Yes, this pawn is attacking this knight, okay? But that's okay, right? I could have just captured here. Could have just took my pawn back. I take, he takes, mistake. Queen takes, best move, all right. Great move, it's the only move on the board. And the computer says I should have traded off, but I didn't. Okay, so now we're, you know, pretty much even. This is a mistake, right? Just trying to save this pawn. They should have blocked with the knight. Always think about, can I develop a piece, right? Especially when you've got all your pieces still in the box. Don't do that, right? Develop your, get them out into the board, right? So now, where are we? Okay, I'm slightly better despite being 2 pawns down, right? That's the difference it can make. Castle's best move. Knight f6 is now a mistake. Right, developing the bishop, I suppose, prepares the castle, right? He's up in material, he's got 2 extra pawns, right? And they are both, they both happen to be on the f-file, okay? But he needs to get his bishop out and get castle, get the king to safety, and then press your material advantage, right? What you want to do is avoid risks when you've got material advantage. So yeah, I didn't like that move. Again, look, it's saying, prepare the discovered attack. But I opened up the file first, but I am +3 now. He does that. Now I give check, +3.5. Bishop blocks, all right. Bishop out to here is the best move, which I like. Knight, there is a mistake, and now we're 6 pawns up, despite being a pawn down. And that is a miss because, did you see this, right? Rook takes knight on the previous move was best. Okay, so they will recapture with the pawn. And now what do we do? Okay, so this is now an isolated pawn. And the only move here is bishop to d6. Oh, hang on. Bishop to, oh, it's this bishop. Okay, so again, we are putting pressure on the pin piece. So now it means this king cannot castle because we just take the bishop, right? The bishop can't capture our bishop because it would put black in check, be illegal. In fact, if he castles, we've got our pick. We can take that or take that. Okay, but we'd probably take this because otherwise it could take us. So that was best on the previous move, okay? And in fact, the best move here from black is short castles. And then we do take here. And then we have equal material. But we're attacking the rook, we're attacking the knight, and rook can't save the knight by going to d8. So, interesting, okay? So if you saw that, full marks, well done. If you saw the rook sacrifice on the previous move, then great. But I dropped my bishop back, saving my bishop. He castles, blunder. And the best move here is rook takes d5, okay? Knight to e5 is also winning. That's the second best move. And the third move is actually c4. But I managed to find the best move on the board, brilliant move. C takes, that's best, that's inaccurate. It should have, oh yeah. So that's another thing to think about, right? I'm attacking his pawn. Well, he can say, well, forget that. I'm going to attack your bishop. I'm going to raise you blood. Yeah? I'm upping the danger levels in it. Yeah? So I'm attacking this. He goes, oh, I can ignore that. I can like push this pawn. You know, once you move your bishop out of the way, I'll push another pawn and I've saved it. Boom! Right? That's better. That's much better. But he doesn't do that, right? He's all flustered. And now it almost plus 10. And the best move, knight e5, okay? Again, applying triple pressure to that poor knight. And it's pretty much all over. That's a mistake. He should have actually moved the other rook. So the same, okay. Well, I guess, I don't know. And now it's actually forced mate in 2. Okay, but I missed it. I missed it. I have the evil bishops of doom, right? Look at these two guys. Evil bishops of doom. All I needed to do was take with the knight. Take with the knight, and now what can he do? Okay, he can't move the king. Both of these squares are covered. And this is where I know I need to sharpen up, right? Yeah, I've got my opponent has his balls on the table, okay? And all I have to do is swing the cricket bat. Yeah, don't play with your food, Hunty. Okay, now, so how does this work? Well, the king can't go there or there. So I'm threatening to move this knight anywhere at all. Oh no, threaten to move the knight here with check. That must be it, right? This would be a double check. And so what do we know about a double check? Yeah, if you put your opponent's king in double check or your king in double check, the king has to move. Because you can't capture both pieces at once, right? You can't block 2 checks, and you can't block a knight check anyway. So that is the threat. So whatever he does, he takes our rook, we come here, and that would be checkmate. And I need to sharpen up on that stuff, right? And stop pushing my peas around the plate. So, interesting times, don't you think? And even a humble little, 5-minute blitz game that's all over with only 2 minutes used on my clock, can be a great source of learning opportunities. So, yeah, if you got the earlier rook or exchange sack, then yeah, full points to you. Otherwise, I hope you've picked up 1 or 2 things. Hope it's been useful. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you soon.